What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best gaming related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. Oddworld Soulstorm is a game that's starting to generate some buzz, and I wanted to go ahead and talk about everything that we know so far about this upcoming title. We can break it down, and I would love to have a real conversation with you guys in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So guys, in an article written by Kelly Pierce of Android Central, the long-awaited return to Oddworld is here. Abe's story continues. Abe led us through some crunchy, zappy, and very explodey situations in Oddworld Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exodus back in the days of the original PlayStation. Since the original release, Oddworld inhabitants, the developers of Oddworld games, have taken us on a journey with Munch and Stranger and gave us a beautiful remake of the beginning of Abe's story in New and Tasty. 6 years after the remake, we are ready to see more of Abe's story. So what is this game, guys? For those of you who aren't familiar with Oddworld, what is Oddworld Soulstorm? Sony shared the latest trailer for Oddworld Soulstorm on September 16th in the same event where it announced the release date and price for the PS5. The game is the latest in the action platforming series that kicked off in 1997 with Oddworld Abe's Odyssey on the original PlayStation. It is a direct sequel to 2014's Oddworld New and Tasty that also serves as a reimagining of the 1998 game Oddworld Abe's Exodus. It is the second title in a planned quintilogy. So the first thing, guys, is that this is a PlayStation exclusive, which is unfortunate for all of you guys who are Xbox users and such. This is another exclusive title. We're seeing this more and more from PlayStation as well as Xbox. So that's the one unfortunate thing. But however, for those of you who are accustomed to the PlayStation or play on PlayStation, you would probably know of Oddworld because it's an exclusive and it dates way back, guys, all the way back to 1997. So when will this game be released? So that's a big question people are asking. Oddworld Inhabitants hasn't announced an official release date yet, but Soulstorm is expected to drop in spring of 2021. Sony will have a limited console exclusive with the game releasing for PS4, PS5, and PC. The game was originally planned for a 2020 release, but was postponed in December. Landing promises that a release date announcement is coming in early 2021. So look, you got to take all the dates, guys, when it comes to these video games, with a pinch of salt because of everything going on in our world. It very well could get postponed. It actually could come out earlier. It's hard to say, but I would say that we probably will see it at some point this year. If we don't, I would say maybe early 2022. So what we're going to go over here, guys, is, what happened in Oddworld New and Tasty. This is going to be something that I want to, discuss with you guys so that we can kind of break down where we could maybe see the story go in the new Oddworld Soulstorm. So with that being said, guys, it's going to be a heavy spoiler section. If you plan to play New and Tasty, you have been warned. While working late one night at a large-scale meat processing plant, Abe, a Madokan slave, overhears the plant owner, Moloch, and Glucon speaking with his Glucon peers. Because of a decline in the animals they use for meat products, including one which is now extinct, Moloch has begun production on a new snack food made from Mudokons. Afraid of his fate at the plant, Abe decides that escaping is his only option. After traversing abandoned temples, avoiding wild animals, and finishing the trials, the shaman marks Abe's hands with scars to represent each of the paramite and scrab species. This grants Abe the power of Skrull, a demigod. Obviously, guys, I'm not very good with some of the names in this game. However, this is kind of, obviously you got to kind of give context on where we've been in this franchise and where we could be moving in the future. Now, prepared to take on the guards at the meat processing plant, Abe returns to free his Madokan brethren and bring the plant to a halt. When Moloch sees what's happening on the security feed, he decides to flood the factory with deadly gases. Abe rushes to the broad room to stop the gas before it kills all the Madokan workers. As Abe enters the broad room, Mullet grabs him and drags him to one of the processing machines, strapping Abe to the conveyor belt. If you rescued enough Madokan allies, they gather to chant a spell that brings down a lightning bolt upon Mullet, blinding him in one eye. In the chaos, Big Face frees Abe from the belt before he reaches the saws, and the Madokans escape the factory. So it's a pretty, when you think about it, guys, it's a relatively darker game at the end of the day. Sure, there's going to be light moments, but it's a relatively dark kind of story. And that's something that, honestly, I kind of like this kind of gritty type of style game here with this. And obviously, I'm someone who knows a little bit about Oddworld. I'm not like super familiar. I'm not like all, completely all in on, the community and such, or kind of really affiliated with the community in a major way. But what I can say is what we've seen of this upcoming game, it's got me very intrigued, as well as a lot of other people intrigued as well. So what's the gameplay like? Well, Oddworld Soulstorm follows in the footprints of New and Tasty, bringing back the much-loved platformer puzzler gameplay with some major upgrades. The game features new 2.9D environments that will give players more freedom to explore and take advantage of the PS5's graphic power. The DualSense controller will vibrate along with the palpitations of Abe's heart as he tries to save his followers, while adaptive triggers use increased resistance to add realism. I love the palpitations of Abe's heart as he tries to save his followers. I think that's really interesting. The game also has a spiritual currency manifested in Abe's leadership. Every choice Abe makes will generate karma, producing real-time gameplay consequences. His morality will determine whether his peers will follow him, and if previous games are any indication, he'll need those allies to survive. Expect to face serious philosophical dilemmas, but also to enjoy some humor. So look, at the end of the day, guys, this title's got me interested and very, very much so intrigued, to say the least. We don't know a ton about the game at this point in time, but we know kind of, where they potentially might be going here if you're going based on what happened at the end of New and Tasty. And so I'm very excited for it, guys. I really am. I'm interested to see what this title's going to be, what they plan on, kind of putting out there. And I think that there's a lot to it here that from the trailer and such that we've seen that really excites me. Does it excite you, though? Let me know in the comment section down below. With Oddworld Soulstorm, what are you excited about? What are you kind of concerned about? If you have any concerns, let me know in the comment section down below. And like I said, let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Oddworld Soulstorm content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. I had to take my sweater off, guys. It is getting super hot in my room, even though we're in the midst of winter. But with that being said, guys, I want to talk about none other than Borderlands and what happened to Borderlands. I mean, look, there's a lot of people who love Borderlands 3. A lot of people did not like it, however, and it's left a lot of questions as to what's going to happen in the future to the Borderlands franchise. So I want to go ahead and talk, guys, about Borderlands 4 in particular, but really what happened here to Borderlands. Is it going to continue? Is it going to go into a limbo state, a state of no return? We know that there is a movie being developed, guys, by Lionsgate, which is pretty exciting, but what exactly is going on here? And after kind of the mixed reception to Borderlands 3, will we see a Borderlands 4? So let's get into it. So in an article, guys, that was written by Andy Robinson of VGC, developer says it's agreed on certain rights for the series, but it owns the IP. Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford has said the company will continue to work with publisher 2K on the Borderlands franchise following its acquisition by the Embracer Group. Embracer announced the up to $1.4 billion purchase of the Texas-based studio, though it said it would continue to operate as an independent studio focusing on premium interactive gaming experiences. In an investor call following the announcement, Gearbox boss Pitchford clarified that this would include working with its long-term publishing partner 2K on known and planned Borderlands content. So in a follow-up statement issued to GI.biz, 2K Games said Embracer acquisition does not change 2K's relationship with Gearbox, nor our role as the publisher for the Borderlands IP. So here's the deal, guys. I mean, for me at least, I have enjoyed the Borderlands franchise. I was not a huge fan of the third game. But I do believe that this is a franchise that has a massive following and it deserves to have a continuation. It deserves to coexist with other games out there. I do believe personally that, Borderlands needs to evolve. I mean, sure, it's a looter shooter, but I think it needs to evolve. Borderlands 3 was promoted as this game that had, just so many different kinds of weapon variants and such. I like that concept, but I just think that, having multiplayer modes and multiple modes and different ways that you can connect with the Borderlands franchise, I think would be awesome. I think Borderlands is primed to have a Battle Royale mode. I think that would be pretty cool. Even if they didn't do that, I just feel at the end of the day that Borderlands needs to evolve as a franchise if it's going to continue in the long withstanding future. And that's just my personal opinion. There are things that we are very good at, and there are things that other people are better at than us, Pitchford said. If we're thinking specifically about Borderlands, we love our relationship with Take-Two and the 2K Games label, and we are committed to working together through all of the unknown and planned Borderlands work that we have been going on. So the CEO said the attraction to working with 2K going forward would now be motivated by expertise rather than capital. Partnerships are a big part of the Gearbox story, and I do not see that stopping. As to clarify the ownership of Borderlands IP, Pitchford said it was pretty clear that Gearbox owned the franchise, but suggested that there was some complexity involving agreements with 2K. We have a relationship with Take-Two where we have agreed on certain rights for exploitation of the IP. The IP is a Gearbox IP. You can read the legal line at the bottom of the Borderlands product, he explained. So it's very interesting, guys. I mean, when we look at Borderlands and kind of what happened here with the third game, honestly, I just feel like there was such a heavy emphasis on weapon variants, and it kind of made other aspects of the game kind of lackluster. Now, when we look at this partnership that, Gearbox has with 2K, you start to wonder, are there starting to be growing tensions between these two, juggernauts, these two studios, where there's creative differences, or there's different, visions as to what the future of the Borderlands franchise should look like. It's a very big question, to say the least. But the ownership of the property is clear in the legal lines of the products. You can just look at the small print and see the copyright or trademark ownership pretty clearly. 2K Games said in its own statement, as the proud publisher of the Borderlands franchise, we are happy for our partners at Gearbox in this exciting new chapter for their organization, the company said. The merger does not change 2K's relationship with Gearbox, nor our role as the publisher for the Borderlands IP or any other projects we are currently working on with the studio. We look forward to continuing our long-term partnership with this incredibly talented team and delivering many more exciting entertainment experiences to gaming fans around the world. Now, obviously, guys, Gearbox also has a Borderlands movie in development with Lionsgate that it said will begin principal photography in the next few months, which is very exciting. Pitchford will act as executive producer on the movie. Now, look, I think that when we look at, Borderlands, obviously it's exciting that they're going to have the movie. Part of me feels, guys, that Borderlands needs to take a break just for a little while. Let it breathe a little bit, continue updating Borderlands 3 and such, but leave it as a sequel, or I should say a trilogy at this point in time before making a continuation. Asked about its upcoming games pipeline, Pitchford suggested the company would develop existing franchises and explore original properties in tandem. So here's my thing. I think that the Borderlands franchise has done very well up to this point in time. The third game was a little bit underwhelming in my opinion, even though it pretty much promised to be, just over the top, but also just, add more content than ever before. My thought, guys, is that Borderlands needs to take a break. I think part of what happened here was there's becoming a fatigue to Borderlands, and that there is a thought that, there's just not enough content that's really involved in this franchise. Sure, you got the campaign, which is great. I mean, they add a lot of stuff to it, but I just feel that there's not enough variety as to adding new elements to this franchise so far. And I think they really just need to take their time with this next game, that being Borderlands 4, if that's what they decide to do. Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing Gearbox venture off into, the unknown, honestly, start working on other titles. Keep Borderlands 4 as, kind of a thought in the back of your mind. Come back to it at some point, obviously. But I just don't think that it's something that needs to be worked on right away. Sometimes, guys, when you look at these franchises, some of the best things that can happen to a franchise is just to let it sit for a while. And really, over time, you can come up with great ideas for what you might want to add and such to the future. So take your time with Borderlands 4. Don't just try to, because you've made a lot of money on this franchise up to this point, start rushing into it again, making Borderlands 4 very quickly, and then kind of going from there. I just think that it's important that you take your time and create the best product possible. But that's my thought on it, guys. By no stretch of the imagination do I not want to see another Borderlands title. I just think they need to take their time, that being Gearbox as well as 2K. But let me know, guys, what do you guys think happened to Borderlands, and do you guys think that we're going to get a Borderlands 4? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Borderlands content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked a lot on the YouTube channel about the Mafia franchise, and guys, look, I'm a huge fan of Mafia. This trilogy that we have so far, and what I'm hoping to see in the future of this franchise moving forward, that being Mafia 4 and so on and so forth, guys. We've got the definitive edition as well, which is most recently, and I believe that that was a taste, a kind of dipping their toes in the water once again with the Mafia franchise, that being Hangar 13 as well as Take-Two. And so I think they wanted to see, is there still a solid fan base around this game for us to really make sense to fully greenlight Mafia 4? And so I want to talk about that here in this segment of the show. You guys can check out all of my Mafia 4 content here on the YouTube channel. We have a lot of it, guys. A lot of you guys are really into Mafia, just like myself, and are hoping, keeping your fingers crossed, that we see a continuation, which I do believe we will see, by the way. So let's talk about it, guys. Will we see Mafia 4? Let's answer the question. Yes, I believe we will, guys. I believe that there is a big enough fan base around this franchise. Now, that being said, do things need to change in this franchise? In my personal opinion, absolutely. If it wants to continue past Mafia 4, there has to be some pretty big changes, in my opinion. Now, what do we know so far about Mafia 4? There has been numerous leaks, rumors that the setting for Mafia 4 is in Las Vegas, which I think is absolutely great. I think that is the perfect place to have Mafia 4. We know that 2K ended up going ahead and registering a number of different trademarks for Mafia. So obviously that gives us the thought of like the definitive editions potentially, as well as maybe Mafia 4. So it's very interesting to say the least when it comes to at least the leaks and the rumors. There are rumblings that we are getting a Mafia 4 sooner rather than later. But is Mafia 4 sustainable if it releases kind of similar to the original 3 games? And my answer is absolutely not. So what am I getting at here, guys? 2K Games and Take-Two Interactive, the makers of obviously, or the publishers, I guess you could say, of none other than Grand Theft Auto. We know Rockstar Games is the developer, publishers Take-Two, and Take-Two knows a thing or two about, obviously, what works and what seems to not work as well. And I feel like they would take one of their other existing IPs and kind of implement certain things similarly here to the Mafia franchise. Mafia, up to this point, guys, has been pretty much the exact same thing as far as, just having a single, game mode. They haven't had, really an expansion, so to speak, on different game modes and things of that nature. They certainly have DLC that come out, but usually, guys, after you're done playing the campaign, that being in the Mafia franchise, 1, 2, or 3, most likely you're going to move on to other games, is what most of us end up doing. You play the campaign, it's awesome, maybe you play it a second time over, you want to do all the side missions and things of that nature, and then you move on to other games. If you remember, you end up playing the game again when the DLC comes out, but that's not everybody. What does Mafia 4 need to do? Well, it needs to add a full package. We talk about this all the time on the YouTube channel, guys, and I will continue to talk about it because AAA titles, any AAA title that ever comes out, needs to have a full package. That being single-player story, co-op modes, and multiplayer modes. They need to have everything, guys. When you're talking about right now, where we are, 2021, in the world of gaming, people expect more. When it comes to these games, they expect everything that these games could possibly encompass, and I believe Mafia could really take a page out of Grand Theft Auto's book. They could easily take out the Mafia Online type of concept that, GTA has with Grand Theft Auto Online. I think that it's a perfect, place where you could do that. We've seen it with Red Dead Redemption Online. We've seen it with, Grand Theft Auto Online. Mafia Online would be absolutely awesome. Being able to play with your friends in the campaign or side missions, things of that nature, would be awesome as well. Having the single player story is great as well. But I think people sometimes get really concerned about what the future of their franchise looks like if developers decide to go ahead and kind of add more into the games and put more money into it, to kind of create put more resources into it. What could that mean? Could that mean if it fails, then it never gets another game ever again? The way I look at it, guys, is it's definitely better to try and fail than to never try at all and then it fails anyway, because over time people will only get, a lot of these games have a certain shelf life, and then they end up kind of going the way of to the wayside essentially, and then people just move on to other games. So I just want to see, I believe it would be very sustainable to see Mafia 4 at least add the online aspects as well as co-op, and I think that's going to bring people back over and over again to this franchise. I really do. And I think that that's something that would really change the game for us in the Mafia community. For me, for one, guys, and I've said this many times, I believe that Mafia and the franchise they've created up to this point is better than Grand Theft Auto. I like GTA, guys. It's a good franchise, but Mafia, in my opinion, that time period and just everything that game encompasses, the story especially, is just so good. And I want to see that continue. And I think a lot of people just haven't really even given it the time of day, the real chance that they should have, whereas they're just putting all their time and effort into Grand Theft Auto, which I understand that. Grand Theft Auto is still a really good game, and it's a lot of fun. Obviously, you have a lot more modes and such that you can play in GTA, but there's something about Mafia that makes it very, very special. And I want to see that continuation. I think it's up to us to voice our opinion, to Hangar 13, to Take-Two, that we want to see a full package in Mafia 4, if that's in the cards as far as what they are, if they're working on Mafia 4 at this point in time, which I do believe they are. So will we see Mafia 4, guys? I want to, ask a question to you guys. Do you think we're going to see Mafia 4? I do. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Mafia 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Rise, guys, this up-and-coming title, the 6th main installment in the Monster Hunter universe, guys. People are very excited about it because coming off of Monster Hunter World, people really loved that game and everything that game encompassed in this universe of Monster Hunter. So there's a lot of hype building here for Capcom's upcoming title. So I want to go ahead and talk about everything that we know so far about Monster Hunter Rise. We can break it down, and I hope we can have a conversation, guys, in the comment section down below about it. So let's get into it. So in an article, guys, that was written by Kevin Nesevich of GameSpot, Capcom is bringing a brand new Monster Hunter game to Nintendo Switch. Here are all the details revealed so far. Monster Hunter World may have skipped out on the Switch, but Nintendo's hybrid console is receiving its own new Monster Hunter game this year, Monster Hunter Rise. Developed on Capcom's RE engine, Rise is a sprawling new entry in the action RPG series, featuring seamless environments and a handful of brand new mechanics that give the game a more fluid, action-oriented feel than previous installments. So really quick, guys, one of the things I'm really bummed out about was that Monster Hunter World was, skipped out on the Nintendo Switch. However, this game, Monster Hunter Rise, is going to only be on the Switch, which up to this point is, to me, is really unfortunate. I really wanted to see this game come out on all the consoles and such. I wish it would just have come out on everything. Similar to, I would have liked to see this also with Monster Hunter Rise. It's really unfortunate that you're going to have to be a Switch owner in order to play it. We're still months away from Monster Hunter Rise's release, but Capcom has already revealed various details about the game. So as far as the release date goes, guys, Monster Hunter Rise launches on March 26, 2021, so it's pretty much right around the corner, guys. Now, the platforms. Monster Hunter Rise has only been announced for Nintendo Switch, though rumors have been circulating that the game will also be released on PC later in the year. Capcom has not announced any plans to bring to other platforms as of yet, which is really unfortunate, but I'm hoping that maybe they change their minds, or there's a plan that it comes later on to the other consoles. As far as the trailers are concerned, guys, lots of trailers. At the Game Awards, they had a trailer. They've had a number of the trailers. You guys can obviously check out all of those. But as far as the new features are concerned, Monster Hunter Rise introduces a couple of new gameplay elements to the series. Chief among them is the wire bug. This lasso-like insect functions as a sort of grappling hook, allowing players to propel themselves around the environment and even latch onto monsters. Capcom confirms that players will have 2 wire bugs at their disposal, and they can be used in conjunction with the game's various weapons to unleash acrobatic attacks. Rise's other big addition is the Palamute, a new type of canine companion. Much like the Palico, the Palamute can join players on hunts and offer backup when battling monsters. Whereas the Palico is more of a support companion, however, the Palamute specializes more in offense, and players can even ride it to traverse environments more quickly. So that's really cool, guys. A couple of neat features. I'm excited to see how that works here. As far as the confirmed monsters are concerned, guys, I gotta say, some of these monsters have been there, done that in this universe, but there's a lot of new monsters as well. And I'm not even going to try to actually pronounce some of these monsters, guys, but there's a pretty long list of brand new monsters. Pretty exciting stuff. Now, a big one for me, guys, is the multiplayer details. So like previous Monster Hunter games, Rise supports up to 4 players locally or online. As is the case with most other Switch games, you'll need to have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription to take advantage of online play. Individual memberships cost $4 for 1 month, $8 for 3 months, and $20 for 1 year, while an annual family plan runs for $35 and covers up to 8 Nintendo accounts. Although Capcom has shared a few details about Rise's multiplayer content, the basics remain the same as in previous Monster Hunter games. You'll be able to party with up to 3 other players and embark on quests together. These missions entail hunting or trapping fearsome monsters and gathering resources which can then use to fashion new weapons and armor for your hunter. So I'm excited, guys, to say the least about the multiplayer. We'll have to see kind of what this one all encompasses as we get to it. Now, free demo and booster pack. So Capcom released a free limited time Monster Hunter Rise demo on the Nintendo eShop on January 7th. The demo consists of 4 missions, 2 training missions that details the game's controls and mechanics, and 2 proper hunts. The beginner hunter tasks players with slaying the Great Izuchi, one of Rise's new monsters, while the intermediate sends players after the returning Mitsusune. So, pretty interesting stuff there, guys. Now, one thing that a lot of people are talking about is the DLC and the microtransactions. So Capcom has not announced any DLC for Monster Hunter Rise, although some sort of post-launch content is expected to arrive for the game. Previous Monster Hunter titles have received a free crossover gear and quest based on other video game series, like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Armor and Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate being one, and that tradition will likely continue with Rise. Capcom, however, is not ready to discuss any crossover plans yet. Collaborations have obviously become a staple of the series, so we're looking into what we can do with this game, but we haven't really decided on anything yet, and the team is still very much hard at work on getting the actual main game finished, so that's our priority right now. Beyond potential collaborations, there's also the possibility of some paid DLC. Monster Hunter World set a precedent for this when it received its big Iceborne expansion, which introduced an entirely new world to explore and many new and returning monsters to hunt. It remains to be seen if Rise will likewise receive a paid DLC expansion, but given Iceborne's success, it's certainly possible. And I agree. I think what was really cool about Iceborne and that expansion was just the entirely new world, guys. That was like really cool that they added that to it. I'm excited to say the least about that. Look, at the end of the day, guys, I'm excited about this title. It's not, it's pretty it's right around the corner as far as the release is concerned. And I gotta say, from everything that we know about this title, I'm excited. I really am. I'm excited about this title, especially coming off of Monster Hunter World. I think that this has a lot of potential to be a special title and to continue the Monster Hunter universe into the future, without a doubt. It's going to be interesting, guys, to say the least. We'll have to. I'll be sure to give you guys more information as it comes out. I'm really hoping that Capcom decides to bring this game out on other consoles outside of just the Nintendo Switch. That would be a travesty, in my opinion, if you're just going to have it on the Switch like that. But nonetheless, I'm excited about it. And microtransactions, guys, lots of people talk about microtransactions. For me, at least, you know, I say this all the time. Microtransactions, to me, I don't mind them. I just, you know, I don't want them to be deceptive to the consumer. I don't want it to give a competitive advantage to others. If you're going to have cosmetic items, I'm fine with that, but I would rather have more earnable items than payable items. I think it's really cool to actually earn things throughout the game, whether it's the story, multiplayer, co-op modes that you can earn. And I think that those earnable items should be, you know, way cooler than those of the payable items. I think payable items, guys, should be purely, you know, cosmetic items and such that don't give you a competitive advantage and they're not deceptive and such. That's what I'm hoping for if there's any types of microtransactions in here, but we're yet to see a lot of games really do it well. So, you know, we'll have to kind of keep our fingers crossed on the microtransactions and such for Monster Hunter Rise. But with that being said, guys, I'm excited. Are you guys excited about Monster Hunter Rise? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Monster Hunter Rise content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.